Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on what date is it? May 14th, 2025. This is Dominic Miani. He's got his own show as well called Recruiter Success on YouTube. And you can see the spelling of his name DOMENIC MAIANI. He's on it 12 o'clock noon Eastern on Thursdays. He's got a great show, and he had a guest list last time. I won't mention his name unless Dominic wants to. It was lots of fun listening to him, but I wanted to bounce off of the guys who came today what I heard there. Is that going to be okay with you, Dominic, if we go through some of the stuff that I heard him say?
Absolutely.
Okay,
And
but
not
he was saying that you guys are the same, and I find you to be confidence level, but surface level, you're very, very different. Okay.
very different. Very different.
Okay.
He's yeah,
Well,
go
here,
ahead.
I'll start off.
Yeah.
Let's go to my notes. Okay. We'll start off there, and you'll see right away what you were just going to say, I'm sure. He said, energy and belief are the key to sales, and specifically energy. This guy is boom, boom, boom. He's slapping you in the face right from the word go. He believes that you have to, he didn't say these words, you have to project power. You have to oversell yourself to build confidence in the other person. Am I right? Am I portraying what he said? Because he talks like I'm talking now. Boom. Yeah. Am I right
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah. Here's the thing though with him, right? That comes with years of experience. That comes with confidence and having the client base. But when you're trying to, like, we have, you and I both have new people that come in the industry, watch our shows. That's not going to work for everyone. They don't even know how to handle that or do it that way. Um, so I think it's just for him is coming on there and showing people like, hey, this is what you're going to have to compete against. An elite seller who has a brand and name, been on the Forbes list, Inc. 5000, you name it, he's been on there. But then at the end of the day, what he also realizes and what I realize in sales, it's what have you done for me today? It's just a constant game of how do you balance that running a full desk, a lot of recruiters come from another agency and think, hey, it's easy, I can go do it on my own. And then they run into the business development roadblock because that is the hardest part,
Okay,
especially in a market
I
like
don't
this.
agree necessarily with that. Okay, and I've got some questions about that. But what he's saying, and he's saying, you're saying, oh, it makes a difference if you're an experienced person. No, his thing was you have to come across with a hard sell and a total like 200% confidence from day one. And he spoke to guys, your other guys there. He said, look, if you've been in the business for 10 years or 5 years, you could say, look, in the last 5 years, I've placed 400 people just like, companies just like yours in your industry. He said, if you're there 1 year, you also, if you only got 1 year experience, you still, you say whatever you want. He said, you have to be a chameleon. That's the quote. He said, if you're working five niches, don't tell them that. Just tell them one and say, I'm a specialist in this one niche. And, if you made 2 placements, you tell them you made 20. Okay. It's
Yeah.
go, 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 oversell. And he
I
said,
think he used the term fake it till you make it is what he was saying basically, right?
yeah, he did
Yeah.
say that as well.
Yeah. And I don't, yeah, I guess, but like the people that know the industry, like they're going to know if you can fake it, if you're faking it, right? Like if I came to you and I go, hey, tell me about what WMS SaaS people you place and what companies, like, how are you going to respond to that immediately? Right? You can't. Um, Now I can because I'm in that space. That's my niche. But like, if you're new and you're talking to a CEO and let's say you got lucky and got them on that call, what are you gonna say? You're gonna come like that, and they're gonna be like, okay, let's see what you have. Who are some people that you place? Where'd you place them at? You know,
Well,
sometimes,
he said after the first year, you can say, I'm the top recruiter in your industry. He said, and then he kept saying, what are they going to do? Go call your bank and check on it? No way. He said, they're going to take
yeah,
whatever you say at face value. You're challenging that right now, are you?
yeah. Well, there's a balance to it, right? I think that's why we're a bit different. You could do it that way, that's fine, but like Is that always going to work? I don't think so. I mean, I think he's saying that now because I know where he's at in his career, 15 years of straight competence. And, and he's also projected, if you ever read the book, The Secret, or listen, watch it on YouTube, like you project it out there. You're, like, hey, this is where I'm going to be. I'm going to be number one, you know, what does that work for everyone? No, you have to have that mindset. Number one, number two, you have to have the daily habits to get you there. And that's where a lot of people fail.
Okay, I think I don't know, I didn't know him before this week, but my guess is that's just his personality.
It is. He's a bulldog. He really is like that all day, every day.
Okay, now the thing is, I also read, and I have a lot more to talk about there, but I also read an article just this morning that when people get older, they actually get smarter. And the reason is they get the guts, or they have the opportunity to create an environment that suits their talents. It matches them, and that made me think of a recruiter who's initially thrown into a bullpen and given a script, and the manager says, "You make 100 calls a day and read this old script." Once they're got, let's say, a 2 or 3 or 5 years experience, and they go on their own and they're working from their own home, they can do what they want. They can actually work in a way that enhances their own personality. Like, you're not trying to be, I mean, you're a top recruiter, based on what you've said, in logistics, I think it is, right? That's your niche. And
Yes.
he said that as well. He's in the same field. It's nice that you guys are close friends because you're competitors as well, right? But
Yeah, but even
the,
in that niche, he focuses on a niche inside of that niche, right?
oh,
Like
he's
he
got a very
focuses on the
small niche.
brokerages, right? Where I'm on the SaaS side. So
But my
it's
point was that, look at you. You're two guys who are successful, working on your own, and yet you've worked on your own personal style, okay? And that enhances your ability because no one's forcing you into a straitjacket. You think I'm right about that or not?
100%. You got to
Okay.
put your own touch on it, right?
So how do
Your own
you,
touch.
if you're not conveying that same energy, you're on the surface. Hey, everybody, in case you don't know this guy, he is famous in the recruiting sphere as a former hockey player in university. I don't know if you ever went pro to any extent. And he told us that, if you don't fight when someone calls you a name on the ice, your team is going to, punish you when you go to the locker room. So
Yeah.
this is a tough guy. He's very competitive, but you're not using the same method as, hey, everybody, look at me, okay? You better listen to me. You don't do that. You don't do that.
No, because
How do
and
you
don't,
project?
don't get
How
me
do you?
wrong. I like him a lot, right? I get
I mean,
along with,
I liked it too. It was a lot of fun. I got to tell you, I really
yeah,
enjoyed it.
he's great, but it's like that is not for everybody, but that works for him, right? Like, if for me, I rather come in with more of a data driven approach because I work with a lot of software companies. They base everything on data, and it's like, that's a different style than coming in like, hey, I got killers ready to go. They're gonna be working on it at 5 a.m. in the morning. Like, that's his style, right? But that's the kind of people that he's projecting out there, that he wants to reach out to him because he knows that's what his clients are looking for. Guys that are similar to him, candidates that are similar to him, and then he can place them immediately, which he places a lot of them, believe me.
Okay, no, but you're saying if you call a company, you don't have to come on like gangbusters to build their confidence in you. So how do you do it?
It just depends who I'm reaching out to. I got to match their energy, right? If they're coming at me hot too, I'm going to come back, same way, match the same energy. Just be a chameleon. That's
Yeah,
why I think he said that,
I don't believe that
right?
for a second, because
Like,
I've watched you on your own show. I've seen you here. You have your style, and you that's the same way
yeah,
you use it all the time. You're very consistent.
yeah. But I also too, when it depends on, like, when I want to call it a client, that could be different, right? Like, I just met with a very analytical internal HR talent acquisition person, and everything to them was like, hey, what are the data, what are the stats? And I'm like, we don't operate that way. We're going to bring you top tier passive talent that it's going to align with your role, but if you want to, here's the link to Luxo to see what we're sourcing. Here's the funnel. Here's who we're reaching out to. Here's the messaging. He wants a little bit more control of it to see it, but that's fine with me. Maybe he wants to learn what we're doing, how is it working? Because sales is really a tough role to recruit. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't really change
Oh,
who I am.
okay.
It's
Well,
just
here's the thing. Also, these is kind of I found this interesting to have confidence in approaching candidates. You want to recruit people, okay? He says, I have to believe that I'm probably going to change someone's life. That's dramatic, but it's not unreasonable. This is a little more toned down. I know I'm probably going to get this person a promotion, so I have a lot of confidence knowing that when someone gets on the phone with me, something good is going to come at the end of it for them. That's a little more toned down, and it's perfectly reasonable. That's a good thing to think. What would you say?
yeah, absolutely. Like we're
Okay.
we're here we're here helping them, right?
Well, also,
Putting
here's
them
what
in
he
better
says. They don't
opportunities.
they don't get this, but no one trusts a recruiter. But he says, for me to win, I have to put the success of other people ahead of my own. So my confidence comes from knowing that I'm doing good things for other people. Okay. Not every
Yeah,
recruiter is like that, though.
no, they're not, and that's where we can come in and win easily because they're stuck to KPIs, certain numbers. Like they're throwing anything at the internal TA or hiring managers and hope it sticks because they have to hit 10 submittals a week or whatever it may be.
Uh-huh.
Where we don't have to do that,
Okay.
as a small boutique firm.
What I also liked, he had a rebuttal. I think he must get this from, there's a few trainers, but I think he's picked some things up from them. He says, if you call someone to recruit a candidate, okay, a potential candidate, and they say, no, they don't want to talk to you. He said, look, you're going to spend 30 minutes scrolling around social media today. Can't you spend 10 minutes with me? It's going to be a good investment for your life. If not immediately, who knows in the long term? He says that
He's right.
he said, you and you too. I'm pretty sure he said you. He said, yeah, he said, I tell them, what do you got to lose? Tell me no after the first call. Don't close the door without looking inside. Right. And he
Yeah,
said, you're like that too. You use that kind of
yeah,
rebuttal?
absolutely. Yeah, it's like, listen, you're going to get a million messages from recruiters. If you're going to get, why would you take my message? Well, number one, my message is straight to the point. But when I do call them, it's like, look, I'm here to help you. You tell me exactly what you're looking for, and I think the salespeople in our industry, they know they should always be looking for the next opportunity, because there might be something else better out there. Something else that matches or aligns better with what they're looking for long term, career, whatever it may be. You got to tap into that. You got to know that. But a lot of people take my calls, like the guy today I talked to right before this call. He goes, Dom, I took your message because I heard about you before and I was introduced to you a while ago. He goes, I actually see that you messaged me back in 2021. So he remembered to message me back.
Okay, so it's 2025, 4 years later. He's talking to you because he heard about you. You approached him back then, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And he goes, I heard nothing but great things about you. And
Really? Well, that's nice. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. You didn't
it's
ask him
good to
who,
get
eh?
that.
You didn't say who.
I did. He told me, and I'm like, oh, great. I actually wrote it down right here. I got to follow up, right? Follow up with Gareth and thank him.
See, but that's one of your friend's pitches. He say, when he'll call up a new business development call, he'll make a call and he'll say, you know, I've been hearing some 3 times this week. People have mentioned your company to me, and I figure that, hey, I better get to know what's going on with you, and it might be good for you to know me as well. That's all baloney.
Right. I do like that move though that he said that. I do like that.
Oh, you do? Eh? I don't like it. Okay,
Yeah, I
but he
do.
can pull it off. I couldn't pull it off. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be able to back it up. That's the thing, right?
No, 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 no. He doesn't back. He says the whole point is you don't have to back up anything you say. Okay, that's what he says. That's his claim.
Yeah, yeah, but he does. So that's why I don't like the way it comes off sometimes on these calls, especially when there's new recruiters on there, because it's not going to work for all of them.
Okay, and okay. He also here's another one I like from him when he's approaching again a candidate, a potential candidate, and they don't want to talk to him. He says, "You think I'm calling you to go sideways or backwards?"
Yeah,
And I liked what he said about himself. He said, I expect to win. I'm shocked when things don't go my way. He said, He said, and that's what professionals are like. Amateurs are shocked when things work out. He said, not me, right?
Yeah.
I really liked that. I
Yeah.
thought that was fun. But he also said, and this is, there's a famous book. I don't know how famous it is now. The sale begins when the customer says no. And your friend said, when they say no, that's when the fun starts. I've never found that to be true. Do you agree with that statement?
What was that book? First off, I want to.
The sale begins when the customer says no. It's a real oldie from the 50s, I think, or 60s.
I love that. Yeah, to me, I gamify it, right? To me, it's a game. All right, why did they say no? Did I not provide enough value? Did I show enough, whatever to get in? Or make them feel enough pain to where they have to come to me. Now I pulled enough people off their team, top level performers, and it's like, who's pulling all these people from my team? Because it's expensive to hire an enterprise sales rep in software sales, supply chain tech. You're talking about a 6-figure investment. And if you lose them after 3 to 6 months, after getting them ramped up and onboarded, that's an expensive hit, So when you go in there and pull somebody's team apart, who's pulling me apart is what they're going to be looking for and why and how. And that is what we did.
About it now. Okay. But here's my point, Tom. We're talking about there's a book called The Sale Begins When the Customer Says No. Okay. And Dominic had a guest last week. He said, when they say no, that's when the fun starts. Okay. Now I know you posted a whole series of rebuttals that I was going to challenge you on. Okay. But what do you, but the Dominic is having trouble coming up with what does he do when he calls somebody up and they say no? So let me just go back there and we'll continue at that point. Dominic, you're calling me up. I say, I got no time, not interested in making a move. I'm happy where I am. Do you start wrestling with me or you say, okay, I'll call you another time?
Candidate or client?
Potential recruit.
It's a candidate, potential candidate. I'm happy where I'm at. What do you respond with?
Yeah, it depends. Like, why not listen to this? I mean, here's the problem. I don't really run into that, but I do sometimes. But here's what I'll say: is like, why not listen to what Brent said? It's like if you don't like it, but I'm always straight to the point too on my messaging. It's like, here's the role, here's the opportunity, here's the comp. Let's chat. But I always shoot them. I even give them the
tend to
company.
not be as no as I get with engineers.
Right.
Sales guys, it's easy rebuttal. If a sales guy tells you no, all you say is, wait a second. You sell all day long. You expect your prospects to listen to your pitch, and now you won't do that for me? That's not very nice, is it, Mr. Salesperson? Because I'm a sales guy too. Why wouldn't you listen to my pitch?
Well, you try to guilt them.
Oh, fuck yeah. Sales guys I guilt all the time because any good sales guy should want to listen to me because they're salesmen, right? They have no loyalty. And, if it's the right opportunity, they should be willing to talk to me.
Okay, but I like what Dominic just said. He says he lays it right on them right away. Okay, so but what if they say, look, that's not good for me? What do you say then?
Tell me what you're looking for exactly, and I'll find it.
But I'm not looking, Dom. I'm happy where I'm at, Dom. I'm very happy where I'm at.
I know, but you're in sales. We're always looking, and that's how I always approach it.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
with
we're
sales
always
guys,
looking.
it's a little
You're
easier.
telling me if I came in with a $300K base salary with an OT of $1 million, you're not going to listen? Oh yeah, of course I'd listen. Okay, well, so tell me what you're looking for.
Let's reduce that back down. How about a base of 200 and an OT of 500? Right.
Right.
You just work it down to the ridiculous. Sales guys are different. Animal, they just are.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're talking about Tom's guest from last week, and he says stuff to the guys like, do you think I'm calling you to go sideways or backwards? I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here to put you ahead.
How about like hey, when someone says to me, I'm happy where I'm at, like that is like so ingrained in my brain. I immediately say, Steve, that's fine. I didn't call you because I thought you were unhappy. If you're unhappy, you'd have called me, right? The reason for my call is, right? And I go, because the whole point about the no is that it is a brush off most of the time. It's like when you walk into the Gap and someone says, hey, can I help you? No, I'm just looking. Fuck, no, you're not. You didn't walk in the Gap to look around. Go fucking someplace else to look at stuff. You didn't walk in the Gap to look around. Same thing when you walk into a car dealership lot. The sales guy comes up. Can I help you? Oh, no, we're just looking. No, you're not. You came here to buy a fucking car, right?
Okay,
So
I'm
the
going to disagree with
salesperson-
you. I could go into a store and just, I might buy in the end, but I'm just looking around. I mean, I'm window
I
shopping.
mean,
There's
yeah,
not-
there is that case, but generally it's not. So that's a good salesperson is going to challenge that objection. That's the whole point of overcoming an objection is challenge it. Is it a real objection? Are they really happy where they at? Or are they just saying that to get you off the phone? Right? Do they really like where they work? Is everything hunky-dory and wonderful and they're a partner and it's great? Or I'm busy, but yeah, I didn't get a bonus. And yeah, my boss is 2 years older than me and never leaving anywhere. And I know I'm not going to go anywhere in this company if I stay here, but I don't have time to talk to this guy right now. And he's like every other fucking recruiter that calls. So I'll just tell him I'm happy where I'm at and he'll move on.
Okay, this guy, his friend, he also said, a quote, "I'm really aggressive with people. It's part of projecting confidence."
Agree. What's the worst thing that's going to happen, right? This is what I don't fucking stand. You're on the phone with the person. If he tells you he's happy where I'm at and you let it go, fine, you lost. If you're aggressive and beat him up and he says no, you lost. It's the same fucking outcome, but
Well,
you're not
no,
going to
hold
change
on a
that
second,
outcome if
hold
you
on.
can't do anything.
Dominic just told us that somebody agreed to speak to him because he's heard really good things about him. If you harass somebody, they might hear
Okay, no, I
bad
don't
things about you.
harass, but it's about going beyond letting that objection tell you to say, okay, well, let's connect on LinkedIn. If anything changes, give me a call that every other recruiter does, right? So it's not about being an asshole or anything. It's just having the confidence to say, wait a second, I didn't call you because I thought you were unhappy, animal. If you're unhappy, you'd have called me. The reason for my call is this. And because of your background, I thought this would be a good opportunity for us to discuss. You're just breaking away from that initial objection he puts up to see if it's real. You don't have to be an asshole, but you have to have confidence in what you have to give him. He's going to be like, oh, you're different. Oh, yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me shut my door. Or, no, Tom, I told you. I am married to the owner's daughter. She blows me every night. I'm not leaving. Right? That's the difference. You have to figure out is that a real objection or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call it proper discovery.
Okay. How many rebuttals will you give? Because I really like these rebuttals that this fellow gave for potential recruits. I already said them, but I'll say them again for you, Tom. He said, the guy says, no, I don't want to talk to you, right? He says, look, you're going to scroll around on social media for 30 minutes today, right? Looking at other people's lives that have no impact on yours. And you're telling me you don't think it's worthwhile for you to talk to me for 10 minutes?
Oh my God. I love that one.
Isn't that great, Tom?
Fantastic.
That was great.
Fantastic.
I even texted him after. I go, that was such a great line. I go, I'm going to use that more.
And then, so like they let's say they still say no, okay? And he says, then they'll say, what do you got to lose? Tell me no after the first call. Don't close the door without looking inside, right?
You're going to spend all this time on social media rebuttal.
Yeah, that's number
Sorry,
2.
I had to make that note before I forgot.
I'll send it to you. I'll send you all my notes on them if you want. Okay. Okay. What did you hear that one? They say no. Guy says no again. You say, look, what do you have to lose? Tell me no after the first call. Don't close the door without looking inside. These are reasonable and they're not nasty or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Either, right?
Give me 27 seconds. If what I say doesn't resonate with you, then you can hang up on me.
Okay.
Right.
Well, actually, no, it's more than 20 seconds because you don't want to just present the job you're working on now.
But that's a way to get them to say, okay, fine, I'll give you 27 seconds. And you go beyond that, right? It's like why I say, I know you're busy. I'll be brief.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
second time, the person says no. Okay. Now, most people are going to back off by then. And then he says, do you think I'm calling you to go sideways or backwards? Right. I want to change. I make money by changing your life.
Isn't better, and the money isn't better than what you have now. Then tell me to go pound sand. But I don't do this to recruit people to have them make less money or to take a backward step in their career.
Yeah. So anyway, that's 3, and they're not bad. They're
and they're not overbearing. They're just all you're trying to do. And I keep repeating myself is make sure that it's a real objection. Yes. I think Don, what did you say?
Proper discovery.
Proper discovery.
Right.
Yeah, proper discovery. Is it real? Are you really telling me this or not? And I like to use the one I was doing a search for Tilden Lopes and Cooper, and the guy told me he was happy where I am at. I started talking to him, and I took a guy who told me he was happy where I'm at, convinced. I said, you were in Chicago designing all these great electrical components for all these awesome architectural buildings. Now you're sitting in Orlando working for SVT, designing electrical components for Home Depot or Publix's, which is a grocery store.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do with your master's degree? And it was dead fucking silence, bro. He didn't know what to say. And he goes, yeah, it kind of does get boring. And I stuck that fucking knife in there and started turning it. And 2 weeks later, guess what? Engineering manager at my client's office. Because it was great, different projects. It was an exciting project. But he said, no time, I'm happy where I'm at. I've been here I moved down to Chicago. I love it here. Everything's fine. And I wouldn't stop. It wasn't he wasn't really happy.
And you knew that too by, being in the industry long enough. Like, there's no way this guy's happy at that role.
Yeah.
Like you're way more creative than that.
Compared to what he's doing in Orlando was night and friggin' day. And one was boring as hell. And once I stuck that knife in there and started turning it, he realized that he was just sitting there, not really advancing his career or doing anything that he really enjoyed doing. It hit home.
Well, that's a little even tougher. But look, here's something else that this guy said that I liked, but I was surprised because this is a super high-powered guy. He believes that sales is the projection of power and energy. That's what convinces people. That's what gives them confidence in you. And yet, at the same time, he said, look, I don't do retainers, okay? The minute I take your $5,000, your $5,000, I'm on the clock, right? And that's where a lot of people get bad experiences, okay? Because now you expect me to send you people even if I can't find them. So I'm going to send you second-rate people just to make it look like I'm doing something. Okay.
He absolutely did not sell the retainer properly and did not give proper expectations to the client when he took the retainer. And you could always walk away, send the money back. If you're that stressed about it, right? You could it's just like contingency in that sense. You can walk away. Yeah, it may hurt a little bit because send money back, but putting the right expectations with the client up front and telling them that I am going to do X. And if we find someone and you hire them, the cost is this. The $5,000 for us to do the research, to do the search, to go out and tell all these people how wonderful and great you are. I can't make someone come work for you.
Okay,
right.
You're not giving any money back. I know you already. You're not giving any money
I set the expectations up front.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever been properly told how to pitch retainers. That's why he's never done it. He likes to play loose, but I know how he operates. He's got a lot of clients in the same space, and he goes, all right, this guy will be a better fit over there. I'll put him over there. He'll call them immediately. They'll pick up the call. They'll say, here's your guy. Boom. That's how fast
I know guys that kill it in contingency because they've dominated their market. They dominated their niche. Their niche is small. They dominate it. They don't need the money because their clients answer their phones. The clients know they're the only guy that can fill their positions. They don't have to worry about it. So I understand that one. There's no reason to ask for money. I have clients I never ask for money for because I'm the only recruiter they use.
Okay, I liked what he said, and I don't think it's because he's poorly trained. Okay, but maybe he never has to. The one problem I have with it is, if you take a search from someone, you can't just walk away. It looks bad for you. They're going to say, "Look, I gave this guy my search, and he never did anything for me."
You have to tell them. That's just. You're right. You can't just walk away, but you have to say, "Hey, Mr. McGillicuddy."
No, I mean, even if you're a contingent, even if you didn't take a retainer or an engagement,
you still have to tell them too. That's what's so shitty about our industry is that candidates will spend 40 minutes on the phone with a client, get all this information from a job order, and never call them again.
Okay.
Right.
Dom, am I representing this guy's statements and beliefs properly?
No, he's great. He's hustling.
No, I thought it was a lot of fun. No, he'll tell you after. I don't want to mention his name on the show.
Okay.
Because he's not here. He's not here. Dom's here, so I can bounce it off him. Okay. He also said, remember, he said he's really aggressive. And that's, so the company says, I want to see more. He said, he keeps saying too, I'm a sniper. Okay. I'm not sending you 10 resumes and say, pick the one you like best. Okay. He says, I'm only sending you qualified people. So if the client says, okay, I want to see more people, he says, for what? He said, this guy checks all the boxes and time kills all deals. Okay. Don't discount me for being really good at what I do and bringing you a great candidate right off the bat. If we go back to the bench, this guy might be gone before you have a chance to come back to him. You want to play that game? Because I don't. Okay, that's pretty straightforward, and it's true. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah,
He knows our audience, and is what I can tell you.
I don't send out multiple candidates, right? I mean, I tell a story. I placed a guy as a $50,000, $40,000 fee in Seattle. One guy, one interview. Like, I brought him a candidate and said, "That's the guy." And this is a big company, and they were like, "Yeah, that's the guy. We don't need to see more people. That's the guy."
Okay, but what if they said, "I want to see more people"? I like this is a good line. You want to play that game? I don't. Okay, go ahead. Not with me. I thought that was great.
And you could all. I mean, it's very simple. If you're not going to hire him, someone else is. So either he's hireable right now, or you don't want to hire him. Those are the only two answers.
You're betting your reputation on that candidate. Okay, you're saying you take him, or I'm not working with you. Okay,
no, I would not say I'm not working. I'm saying, look.
This guy says I'm walking away, okay?
No, because the client could say, we don't like him because, right? If the client's like, I don't know, we want to hire him, but we want to see more. No, it doesn't work that way. I'm going to tell the candidate you're not interested, and we'll find someone else. And you tell me why that guy's not a perfect fit, right? It's a relationship thing. And yes, you do have to walk away if they're like, no, we think it's a perfect fit, but we need to see more. No, it doesn't work that way. This is not a cafeteria. This is not a showroom. We don't test drive cars, right? The candidate's good enough today because doesn't work.
Okay, I like that one. And here's what he said. He said, "I'm really aggressive with these companies. I'm very blunt. They can hate me, but I'm going to tell it like it is." Okay, I like that. I really did. Okay.
What is it? You're either a source or you're a client. End of fucking story.
Actually, I would never say that, but he tells him. Maybe I'll find it on here. He tells him that. He says, yeah. He says stuff like, "You don't want me to be your enemy." Okay.
Yeah.
We say that all the time to clients.
Oh no, really?
I like that. Partner or prey. Yeah.
You're either a partner or source. You pick.
You'll say that to somebody and they'll still work with you?
Oh,
usually it's when I know they're not going to work with me.
yeah, usually that, and that's where I made this one guy pay, and he's no longer even at his company because everybody left. You know who pulled them off? We did.
Uh-huh.
So he lost all of his top talent.
I know you've heard me say this. If ever an employer says to me, a marketing, "We don't use recruiters," I say, "Oh, that's awesome." And they go, "What?" I go, "Yeah, because you're either a source or a client, and I need a place to find people from." And either they'll hang up on me, or they'll be like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm going to tell you this right now. That is the stupidest thing you could ever say to a recruiter that calls your company, because you're putting a bullseye on your back. Don't ever say that again. I don't care if you work with me or not, but that is the stupidest thing you could say, because you're basically saying we would never pay you a fee. So all the recruiters that call you are going to go, oh, we're just going to take from this company, and that's going to make your life miserable."
Yes.
I like that, putting the target on your back. They'd be surprised to hear that, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Or you could say, look, you must be very confident that everybody's really happy with you, and nobody's going to be able to move your people. Okay. Here's something else that he said that I really liked. He said, an intake session. He says, you have to ask them about how defined their hiring process is. And he said, they have to tell you the exact steps and how long it takes. He said, because, very few of these clients have a good process. Most of them suck. And in fact, he referred to Dominic. He said, Dominic and I are working with companies worth $1 billion, the top in their industry, and they're a shambles. I can't remember what the term he said was. Dominic, is that true? They don't have
their recruiting processes, systems, just awful. They don't even know, who's doing what interview when. We need to have that dialed in, ready to go, especially for salespeople. Like, time kills all deals. Okay, and if somebody else reaches out in between, let's say somebody's going to be on vacation for 2 weeks, you just lost that person.
Okay, and he says candidates will go to 3 meetings with 3 different people, and the interviewers don't even talk to each other afterwards. He said,
That's horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah,
horrible.
Said, I have to tell them what I need from them to do a good job for them, because I'm not working with them unless they've got a clearly defined process. Okay. So that's an easy way to become an advisor. I think I'm sure that lots of them will be resistant. Yeah. That went over well. Okay. Cause I also,
it's when you're taking the job order intake, I mean, that's an important part. Like, what is your process? Who do they talk to? When do they talk to them? Tell me how your process works, right? And then decide if that's a good process, you want to work with it. And if it seems a little elongated, ask them why it's elongated. Why do they do that? What is the success rate be, right? And if they do tell me there's 3 different interviews, I'm going to, why aren't you doing a panel interview if all 3 of these guys are managers? Like, do they get together afterwards? How are we going to know what each one, like, there's a lot of things they should be asking.
Okay. Now, the thing is, they don't even have a law. The complaint is that a lot of these companies don't even have a long interview process. They're by the seat of their pants. I'll keep reminding you about this guy, Daniel Chait. He's the CEO of Greenhouse. And he said that's one of the features of his software is coordinating. And he said these IT companies, they are, as I said, a shambles. They'll bring a candidate in and then they'll haul people in without preparation to take a look at them. Hey, have a look at this guy, speak to him. They don't know what to ask him. It's totally uncoordinated. And his software, Greenhouse, was supposed to help support that. But I just thought it was interesting. You give me a clear setup or, this ain't going to work. Okay. What about Mr. Internal? I'll ask David M. Marr. You're working internally. Will you guys have, does every company you've worked at inside, do they always have a clear hiring process, or is it a mess?
Most of the time there is a clear hiring process. And there's also a clear process usually when they partner with agencies as well. It's going to depend upon the size of the company and the type of position. They'll usually first try to fill roles internally, of course, through the normal channel.
That's not what we're talking about, okay?
Yes,
okay, we're
yes,
past that.
But yes,
so you're saying everything we've been talking about for the last 5 minutes is wrong. Most companies have a well-organized process. Is that what you're saying?
I can't speak the most. I can tell you that the firms that I have worked for do have.
Okay, well, that's why you're in heaven, okay? That's why you're up there. Good for you.
Like, yeah.
Okay, yeah, but but this fellow was talking about, he says, you have to project that power and slap them in the face with it. That's what builds confidence in you, okay? If you say, I live, eat, and breathe construction or steel structures or engineering or something, you have to tell them that, and that's what breeds confidence.
That might be true for the blue-collar world, but if you do that in the white-collar world, they're going to think you're an asshole.
Okay, this guy's pretty successful. Okay, he's Dominic's friend. Okay, and he would agree with that, right? That
Well, I think some people think he's an asshole. Some people love him.
Okay,
but he knows his audience. And in our space, it's we're in supply chain logistics. Everybody's move, go. No, what do you need? Hurry up, tell me.
Okay. Now here's a guy who said, it's a nice, cute saying. You teach clients how to treat you. If you say yes to chaos, you can expect just more of it. Okay. How it's kind of what we've been talking about now, but we've spoken many times here. Your hiring managers, your clients, they're not, Rich will say, they're not going to take advice from you. You're not going to teach them anything. Is that right or wrong? Can you teach them? Or, is it really a mess?
Sorry. What was that question?
Okay, this guy said if you you teach your clients how to treat you, okay? If it's chaos there, you're going to just get more of it, okay? Now, but what we've been talking about is if they've got chaos in their hiring process, you have to teach them how to do it right. But we've talked here before. Rich Rosen has said you can't teach your clients anything. They're not going to listen to you. You're not a consultant for how things work on the inside. Does anybody want to dispute that? Say, yes, you can help them straighten up their hiring process. No? Okay.
I mean, you can try, but it could be an effort in futility, but you could.
Okay. Here's the thing. Here's your rebuttal. If you're dealing with a prospect for business development, okay, and they say your fee is too high, you say essentially, okay, what's the cost of having this role go unfilled? My service is going to save you far more than my fee. Have you ever used that, or are you just rewriting what Steve Finkel said?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the stuff that I printed is basically that's
You're
that's
not
one of,
answering me. Okay.
yes,
Do you ever
yes,
say
yes,
that to people?
absolutely, yes. How long is it? What does it cost you to have this position open? Yes, absolutely.
What's the answer you're looking for? How do they have a dollar value? What do they know?
Some companies do, some companies don't. Right? And again, we're talking about what Dominic? What did you use again?
Discovery.
Discovery. It's discovery. Is it a real objection? Is my fee really too high? What is the situation?
Okay. And here's another one. Okay. They say, if you bring your candidates in too quickly, they'll say, look, you're not working. Why should I pay you $20,000 or $10,000? And so your argument is, look, you're not paying me for the hours I work. You're paying for the results.
I got the perfect one. Pablo Picasso is sitting in a bar. He's hanging out, having a cocktail. Lady comes up and says, hey, can you draw me something on this napkin? He draws a little thing on napkin, hands to her and says, $10,000, please. She goes, oh my God, why would I pay you 10 grand? It just took you a couple of minutes to do that. He goes, no, ma'am, it took me 30 years to be able to do this.
Okay. Okay. And you would use that. You would actually say that to somebody.
If someone said to me, we don't need to pay you because you did it so quick. Yes, 100%.
Okay. Tom is starting to sound like Chris Rock. If someone said to me,
I mean, that's the thing. If someone actually had the audacity to say, you found us a candidate too quickly, you should reduce your fee. You want to talk about getting me being pissed? I'm going to lose it.
I would say that's what you pay us for. You pay us for our network, our connections, our eyes and ears, boots on the ground. We know what's going on everywhere. When that person's ready to make a move, we align it at the perfect timing. There it goes.
Okay. Here's
Simple.
another one you had. Okay. My fee is too high. And you say, my fee's too high compared to what? Okay. And then you go back to that. How much is it costing you to have that? But no, actually, you've got a different one there. He said, we're talking about getting a candidate who performs in the top 10%. Okay. How do you know your candidate's going to do that? Okay. You don't know that.
It's incumbent upon me to bring you someone like that. In fact,
you don't know that at
more
this
money.
point.
You should be willing to pay more money so I bring you a higher quality candidate.
But you don't know that you don't know how the person's going to work out. That's a
no. The greatest indicator of past behavior, or greatest indicator of future behavior is past behavior. If I bring you the number one sales guy from your direct competitor, chances are he's going to be the number one sales guy for you.
Okay. So these are all very similar. Here's another rebuttal. You say, look, they say your fee's too high. You say, hiring top tier talent costs money, but hiring mediocrity costs way more. Okay. Your investment with me covers access to passive talent no one else can reach. One of my candidates could net you 10 times more in growth, leadership stability, or innovation. That's pretty much a different version of the one before. You don't know that. 10 times more. I'm giving you 10 times better candidate than you would find on your own.
Is all these companies use this same thing when a company says to them, your service is too high, your product is too high, right? That's the thing. You're dealing with people who are doing the same thing, and you're turning the tide on them.
There's a difference, because if they're selling a toilet flusher, it either works or it doesn't. Okay, we don't know how this candidate's going to perform in a new environment. It's much more complex. It's a much more complex product. Okay. And okay.
I love the fifth one, right? That's a wing. I sell that a lot. I'm not a transactional recruiter. You want a cheaper recruiter? I'll give you 4 or 5 names. There's Dominic, there's Animal, there's David MR. I'll give you their phone numbers. They'll do it for cheaper. You want cheaper? I can do it. I'm not going to do it.
Animal will.
Price is the only reason I am the wrong recruiter for you.
Okay. And then they'll give me a call, and I say, sure, I'll take Tom's hand-me-downs.
He's got a bundle and is about to be donated. He's sending them your way.
Yeah, fine. That's okay. Lots of people
that's always been a big thing for me. Like, if you're looking for the cheapest recruiter, why are we talking? That's a Sandler selling technique, right? Old school Sandler selling technique. Like, I'm never going to be the cheapest. Why are we even having this conversation? If price is all you care about, then that means you're dealing with a bunch of resume houses that are just shoveling you shit. And that's not what I am.
Okay. And are you expecting to win the sale when you're using that rebuttal?
I mean, yeah. I mean, every time I use a rebuttal, I'm expecting to win the sale or get the candidate. Does it work every time? No. And that's what I try to explain to everybody. Rebuttals are great, but they don't work every time because maybe their budget's not there, or maybe they've had success with a 10% recruiter or whatever it is. It doesn't work every time, but you got to use it. If you're going to sell, you have to try and overcome objections.
Okay, these are interview questions. They're pretty standard, but I like them. Okay, what makes you good at your job? Does anyone? I think that might confuse people. I believe lots of times sending someone the questions in advance before you do the screen, that could help them. I mean, what makes you good at your job? Did someone necessarily evaluate themselves and fully articulate their value before you ask them? I think that might be hard to answer. What do you think of that question? What makes you good at your
Absolutely
job?
not. I think it's a great one.
I think
Gives
it's a
you
great one, too.
indication of how they speak on the fly, how well they know themselves and what they do, how they compare themselves against their peers.
Uh-huh.
If you have no answer and you're asked that question, I would question if you're a top performer.
Okay.
The one I would say is, tell me something. Brag to me about something you've done, something you're proud of, a project, a sale, anything that you're proud of.
That was the second question. This woman gave two of her favorite questions, and that was the second one. But let me see. What makes you good at your job, David and Mark? Since you love it so much, have you ever had anybody answer that question?
Yeah.
Well, give me an example.
I like to word it a different way, though. I like to say, what sets you apart from amongst your peers?
And give me the example. Do I have to beg?
They went into detail about how they distinguish from their role. I don't have an example off the top of my head.
Okay,
And
I'm going to
eating
tell
lunch,
you,
sorry.
you know what? You just gave me an idea. I do actually think of this. This is what differentiates this show from a lot of others. I'll harass the people who come here, okay? You're going to tell me
good.
that? You better prove it, okay? I'm not going to let you just give me some blather, okay? You
Don't
prove
blather.
it to me. It doesn't make sense to me, okay?
Prove what?
An
You
answer
just
to the
said that's a
question.
great question, and if somebody's good, they're going to know it.
Oh,
Exactly
yes,
why they're
yes,
good.
yes. What may set you apart from your peers? Absolutely. I'm the number
Love
one
this
sales
question
guy.
right
I
here.
have I'm able to put together sales training programs that no one else can do. I have the highest number of closing rates. Right? I make more phone calls than anyone, or whatever it is.
I have the largest LinkedIn network. I'm recognized by my peers as being one of the most creative and innovative sourcers. I usually work myself out of a job and fill roles faster and
Yeah, you know
more
what?
complex
You
roles
know
than my
what?
peers.
That's not provable. I'm recognized by my peers. Well, how do you know you're recognized by your peers?
Look
What's
at my
the-
connection.
You're
look at my
asking
LinkedIn
us for
recommendation.
okay. So do you want like a quantifiable list of provable facts, or do you want to know why I believe I'm different from my peers?
Okay, you know what? Dominic's guest, his friend, he said, "Look, I'm a chameleon. I'll tell you anything you want to know. I placed 50 people in this nation last year, and you might have just done 2." He says they're not going to check up on you. Okay,
That's a tough one, man. I'm not sure I like that one.
Yeah, I said the same.
I mean, I know
Here's a
fake it
question
till
I
you
like.
make it kind of thing, but I'm not gonna. If somebody asked me, "Have you ever filled a controller position?" Yes, I've done 4. Right. But this is why I'm successful, because it's about knowing what the client wants to hire, the type of candidate, the personality, not particularly the position. But I'm not an expert in controllers. If you're looking for an expert in controllers, I'm the wrong guy.
Dominic, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I like this question that we've been asked. What are you looking for in your next role that you've never had before? And then if they also say something about culture, like about the client we're talking about, okay, what specifically do you like? And then I'll just catch them off guard. David, you probably catch people all the time. Tell me about
Why? If you're not asking why a lot, there's an issue.
Or you start off with a basic question, then you probe and have them build upon it. That's another great approach.
You have to do that with engineers. I have to drag. Oftentimes, I have to drag it out of an engineer. Okay,
Yep.
so what kind of projects do you work on?
Because a lot of times,
Yep.
especially if they're in
Okay.
a group, if they're in a group setting, they talk about the nature of the team, but they don't talk about what they did on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand and distinguish that to pull it out of them. So you basically are providing the necessary useful information as they're describing whatever the project is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to do my ads now. I already did Don, but I'm going to do them again. He's got a great show. You can tell. I've been basing this whole show on his last show primarily. It's on 12 o'clock noon tomorrow, Thursday, noon Eastern. Okay, and anybody can call in, and he'll give you a chance to talk. And there's a bunch of people who might, be able to answer your questions if you have any. I always see people saying, "I want a mentor. I need a coach." And they don't go to these shows where they can ask. Tom's got another show Tuesday nights, 5 p.m. Ask a Recruiter. Okay. Dominic's before. Okay. Go to is Recruiter Success. That's how you find his show on YouTube. You go to the recruiterroundtable.com to find all of Tom's shows. Okay. He's got the Tuesday night show, the Friday at noon. Is it noon or 12:30?
No, Friday at 12:30 Eastern time.
12:30 Eastern.
And then we have the third Thursday is the Loxo Job In Roundtable.
Yeah, okay. And that's 4 or 5
He's
o'clock
the
in the
same-
afternoon, right?
He's the same Google Meet for all of them, Tom.
No, for the Recruiter Roundtable and the Loxo Job In one, that is the same one. And then for the Ask a Headhunter,
Yeah, but that's
anything,
not it.
different.
If you go to the recruiterroundtable.com, he's got
You
them
can
all
find them all.
listed there. Okay. Well, how come I can give a better answer than him? Okay. And finally,
Because he wants you as a co-host. That's why.
okay, David M. Marr just did his own ad a little while ago. He said, I work myself out of every job. I do such a good job. They don't need any more people. He's on a contract right now. He's a super sourcer. You can see he's an experienced recruiter as well. He'll be happy to give you a chat. David M. Marr, M-A-R-R. He's on LinkedIn. Guys, this is a lot of fun. I don't know about for you guys, but it's a lot of fun for me. I always feel energized after the show. Thanks very much. Anything
do I.
else? Should we say?
See you
No.
guys.
Goodbye, guys. Goodbye.
Bye. Have a good one.
Peace, peace,
Goodbye,
peace.
everybody.